Some Hollywood legends didn't just act tough, they lived lives that proved it. From decorated war heroes to fearless stunt performers, and from martial arts masters to men who faced down danger long before they stepped on a set, these actors carried real grit into every role. Their toughness wasn't manufactured in a studio. It was earned through hard battles, daring risks, and unshakable resolve. 25. Jimmy Stewart. Before It's a Wonderful Life made him America's favorite everyman, Jimmy Stewart was already a genuine hero. At the height of his acting career, he enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II. Not for publicity, but from a deep sense of duty, Stewart flew 20 perilous bombing missions over Nazi-occupied Europe, facing enemy fire that claimed countless lives. He earned numerous decorations and rose to Brigadier General, the highest rank ever achieved by a Hollywood star. Modest to the end, Stewart rarely spoke of the danger he faced, but fellow servicemen remembered his calm under fire. On screen, he was warm and relatable. In the skies, he was unflinching. 24. John Wayne. Few figures have loomed larger over Hollywood than John Wayne. With his commanding frame, slow drawl, and no-nonsense gaze, he defined the archetype of the tough American hero for more than 4 decades. Though he never served in the military, Wayne's on-screen portrayals of soldiers, lawmen, and frontier leaders made him a cultural icon during wartime and beyond. Off-camera, he was as uncompromising as his characters, fiercely opinionated, quick to speak his mind, and unwilling to bend to Hollywood trends. His presence alone could dominate a room, whether on a movie set or at a political rally. For millions, Wayne wasn't just acting. He was the embodiment of grit and backbone. But our next legend brought muscle and ambition to a whole new level. 23. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Long before he was the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger was rewriting the limits of physical endurance. Arriving in America with little more than a dream, he dominated the bodybuilding world, winning Mr. Universe at 20, then racking up 7 Mr. Olympia titles. His discipline and sheer willpower carried him into Hollywood, where he became one of the most bankable action stars of the 80s and 90s. Roles in Predator, Commando, and Total Recall cemented his image as an unstoppable force. Off-screen, his ambition took him to the governor's office of California, proving his toughness extended beyond the gym and the set. Arnold's story is one of relentless drive, self-made success, and unshakable confidence. 22. Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster's path to Hollywood toughness started far from the silver screen. Before acting, he was a circus acrobat, mastering strength, agility, and fearlessness high above the ground. That physicality translated seamlessly into film, where he performed many of his own stunts, a rarity in the 1940s and 50s. Lancaster also served in the U.S. Army during World War II, adding real-life discipline to his natural athleticism. Off-screen, he was as strong-willed as he was physically capable, forming his own production company to wrest creative control from the studios. Whether playing charming rogues or hardened soldiers, Lancaster's presence commanded respect. 21. James Cagney. James Cagney could light up the screen with charm one moment and turn menacing the next. Famous for The Public Enemy and Angels with Dirty Faces, he brought a raw, street-bred energy to his roles. That wasn't an act. Cagney grew up in the rough neighborhoods of New York's Lower East Side, where street fights were part of daily life. To protect himself and his younger brother, he learned to handle his fists early on, even training briefly as a boxer. His toughness wasn't just physical. In Hollywood, he became a shrewd negotiator, refusing to be pushed around by the powerful studio system. Cagney fought for better pay, more control over his roles, and the respect of his peers. On set, his quick movements and fiery personality set him apart, making every scene he touched unforgettable. If you enjoy uncovering the real stories behind Hollywood legends, consider subscribing so you never miss the next untold tale from Tinseltown's golden years. 20. Humphrey Bogart. With his gravelly voice, sharp wit, and piercing stare, Humphrey Bogart became one of Hollywood's definitive tough guys. In classics like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon, he played men who could navigate danger with equal parts brains and grit. Off-screen, Bogart's life mirrored his roles more than fans realized. Raised in New York, he was known for his quick temper and love of poker, often getting into heated disputes in smoky backrooms. He wasn't afraid to stand his ground, whether in a bar or on a film set. Despite his hard-edged reputation, Bogart could show vulnerability, which only made his performances more compelling. That balance of toughness and humanity helped him become a timeless screen icon. Our next actor brought his real-life combat training into every performance and wasn't afraid to prove it. 19. Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal burst onto the action scene in the late 80s with films like Above the Law and Under Siege, showcasing a fighting style few in Hollywood had seen before. A 7th Dan black belt in Aikido, Seagal became the first foreigner to run an Aikido dojo in Japan, a feat that required both skill and cultural respect. His fluid, bone-jarring moves weren't just movie choreography. They came from decades of real martial arts training. Beyond acting, Seagal worked in law enforcement, even serving as a reserve deputy sheriff. While his larger-than-life personality has sparked controversy over the years, his credentials in martial arts are undeniable. 18. James Coburn. Tall, lean, and effortlessly cool, James Coburn had a presence that could be both charming and intimidating. Known for films like The Magnificent Seven and Our Man Flint, he stood out as one of Hollywood's most versatile tough guys. But Coburn's grit went beyond the screen. He was a dedicated martial artist who trained extensively under Bruce Lee. Lee considered Coburn one of his top students, praising his speed, power, and focus. That discipline gave Coburn a quiet edge, making him believable whether playing a gunslinging cowboy or a sophisticated spy. His easygoing demeanor masked a razor-sharp physical ability that only those who trained with him truly understood. 17. Sylvester Stallone. Few actors have embodied physical resilience on screen like Sylvester Stallone. Launching to superstardom with Rocky in 1976, Stallone didn't just play an underdog. He lived the part, writing the script and refusing to sell it unless he could star. His dedication to realism pushed his body to extremes, enduring brutal training regimens and dangerous stunts. During Rocky IV, a punch from Dolph Lundgren hit him so hard it caused heart swelling and a hospital stay. In the Rambo series, Stallone performed risky action sequences that left him with multiple injuries. Off-screen, his relentless work ethic turned him into a global icon of determination and grit. 16. Sean Connery. For many, Sean Connery will forever be the ultimate James Bond, smooth, dangerous, and unshakable. But his toughness wasn't just an act. Growing up in Edinburgh, Scotland, Connery left school early to work a series of labor-intensive jobs, building strength long before the cameras rolled. He served in the Royal Navy as a teenager, gaining discipline and resilience that would shape his career. In 1957, while filming Another Time, Another Place, he famously disarmed mob enforcer Johnny Stompanato, who had stormed onto set with a gun over rumors involving actress Lana Turner. Connery's quick reflexes and refusal to be intimidated mirrored his on-screen characters perfectly. Our next actor lived life in the fast lane, on the track, on the set, and everywhere in between. 15. Steve McQueen, nicknamed the King of Cool, Steve McQueen projected effortless toughness in films like Bullet, The Great Escape, and The Magnificent Seven. His real life was just as daring. Abandoned by his parents, McQueen grew up in reform schools and on the streets, often stealing to survive. He later joined the U.S. Marine Corps, where he turned his rebellious streak into disciplined skill, even saving fellow Marines during an Arctic exercise. A passionate racer, McQueen performed many of his own high-speed stunts, both in cars and on motorcycles, pushing himself to the edge. Castmates called him unpredictable, but few doubted his fearlessness. 14. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan built his career on a mix of martial arts, skill, breathtaking stunts, and physical comedy. And he did it all without a stunt double. Trained from childhood at the rigorous Peking Opera School, Chan mastered acrobatics, stage combat, and multiple fighting styles. His breakthrough came with Drunken Master, leading to global fame with hits like Police Story and Rush Hour. Behind the scenes, Chan's commitment to doing his own dangerous stunts resulted in countless injuries, from broken bones to a fractured skull. Yet he never slowed down, seeing each risk as part of his craft. His blend of discipline, creativity, and fearlessness made him one of the most respected action stars in the world. 13. Clark Gable. Known as the King of Hollywood, Clark Gable had the charm, charisma, and commanding presence to dominate the screen in classics like Gone with the Wind. But his toughness went far beyond acting. After the sudden death of his wife, Carol Lombard, in 1942, Gable enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Forces at the height of World War II. Despite his fame, and a bounty reportedly placed on him by Adolf Hitler, he flew 5 combat missions over Europe as an aerial gunner. Facing enemy fire, Gable proved he wasn't afraid to put his life on the line. His willingness to serve when he could have stayed safe made him a real-life hero. Our next entry is a man whose name became synonymous with martial arts in America. 12. Chuck Norris. Before becoming a pop culture legend, Chuck Norris was a genuine martial arts powerhouse. Serving in the U.S. Air Force as an air policeman, he was stationed in South Korea, where he began studying Tang Soo Do. That training sparked a lifelong dedication to martial arts, leading him to earn black belts in multiple disciplines and win 6 World Karate Championships. Norris founded his own fighting style, Chun Kuk Do, and trained military and law enforcement personnel. On screen, he became the face of American action, with hits like Walker, Texas Ranger, and Delta Force. Beneath the internet jokes and memes lies a disciplined fighter whose real-life skill made his on-screen heroics believable. 11. Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood's steely gaze and calm, deliberate demeanor created an entirely new brand of on-screen toughness. From the good, the bad, and the ugly to Dirty Harry, he perfected the role of the lone figure who never flinched under pressure. Eastwood served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War, surviving a plane crash in 1951 and swimming over a mile to shore, a real-life test of endurance. Off-screen, he carried the same focus into directing, known for working efficiently and demanding excellence without theatrics. Whether in front of or behind the camera, Eastwood's strength came from quiet confidence, not showmanship. 10. Ernest Borgnine. Ernest Borgnine broke the mold of the Hollywood leading man. Without the chiseled jawline or six-pack abs, he relied on pure grit and authenticity to command the screen in films like Marty and the Dirty Dozen. Before acting, Borgnine spent a decade in the U.S. Navy, serving during World War II aboard destroyers in both the Atlantic and Pacific. The discipline, endurance, and no-nonsense attitude he gained in uniform carried into his acting career. Known for treating crew members and co-stars with the same respect he gave admirals, Borgnine's toughness came without arrogance. Whether playing a hardened soldier or a working-class everyman, he radiated the confidence of someone who had truly been through the fire. 9. Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo's on-screen intensity in films like Machete and Heat comes from a life that was every bit as hard-edged as his characters. Raised in a rough Los Angeles neighborhood, Trejo battled addiction from a young age and spent over a decade in and out of some of California's toughest prisons. It was behind bars that he discovered boxing, becoming a champion in both the lightweight and welterweight divisions at San Quentin. After turning his life around through rehabilitation, a chance meeting on a film set led to acting work. Trejo's rugged presence and lived experience made him instantly believable as a tough guy. His story is proof that redemption can be as powerful as any action sequence. 8. Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson's tough exterior wasn't an act. It was forged in the mines of Pennsylvania. Born into a poor coal mining family, he began working underground as a boy, breathing in dust and breaking rock long before he saw a film set. During World War II, Bronson served in the U.S. Army Air Forces as a bomber gunner, flying combat missions and earning a Purple Heart after being wounded. That hardened resolve translated perfectly into his film career, where he became known for his quiet but deadly characters in Death Wish, The Magnificent Seven, and The Dirty Dozen. Bronson didn't need flashy dialogue to dominate a scene. One glare was enough to send a message. 7. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas rose from poverty to become one of Hollywood's most commanding leading men, known for his fiery performances in Spartacus, Paths of Glory, and Gunfight at the OK Corral. His toughness wasn't limited to the screen. Douglas was a force behind the scenes as well. In 1960, he defied the Hollywood blacklist by publicly crediting blacklisted writer Dalton Trumbo for Spartacus, a move that risked his career but helped end the practice. Physically, Douglas was relentless, often performing his own demanding action scenes well into middle age. His intense drive and refusal to compromise made him a symbol of determination both in the industry and to audiences. 6. Michael Jai White. Michael Jai White is more than just a convincing action star. He's a legitimate martial arts master, holding black belts in 7 different disciplines, including Shotokan, Taekwondo, and Kyokushin. White has competed and won over 25 martial arts titles. His breakout role as the lead in Spawn showcased both his athleticism and screen presence, and he's since appeared in films like Blood and Bone and The Dark Knight. White's fighting skills aren't just for show. They come from decades of dedicated training, discipline, and respect for the craft. Off-screen, he's known for mentoring young martial artists and promoting the mental and physical benefits of the discipline. Our next tough guy combined real combat experience with a career full of unforgettable villains. 5. Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee's towering frame and deep, commanding voice made him one of cinema's most memorable villains, from Count Dracula to Saruman in The Lord of the Rings. But his real-life experiences were even more remarkable. During World War II, Lee served in the Royal Air Force and later in military intelligence, taking part in dangerous operations across North Africa and Europe. He rarely spoke about the details, but hinted at experiences that shaped his imposing screen presence. Known for his fearlessness, Lee even corrected director Peter Jackson on the sound a person makes when stabbed, claiming first-hand knowledge. His combination of battlefield experience and refined acting skill gave him an authenticity few could match. 4. Mickey Rourke. Before Mickey Rourke made his mark in Hollywood with films like 9½ Weeks and Angel Heart, he was a serious boxer. As an amateur, he compiled an impressive record of 27 wins and only 3 losses before stepping away to pursue acting. In the early 90s, frustrated with Hollywood, Rourke returned to the ring as a professional, going undefeated in 8 bouts before injuries forced his retirement. His time in the ring left him with broken bones and lasting scars, but it also gave him the raw intensity that fueled his acting comeback in The Wrestler. That performance, mirroring his own battles, earned him critical acclaim and reminded audiences that his grit was never just for show. 3. Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin's cold, steely presence in films like The Dirty Dozen and Point Blank came from a place of real combat experience. Serving as a U.S. Marine in World War II, Marvin fought in the Battle of Saipan, where he was seriously wounded by enemy fire. He received a Purple Heart and was medically discharged, carrying those battlefield scars for the rest of his life. On screen, he brought that same intensity, never overplaying it, but letting his authenticity speak through every glare and line delivery. Marvin's toughness wasn't theatrical. It was the kind forged in foxholes and firefights. His blend of military grit and understated menace made him one of Hollywood's most convincing tough guys. Our next entry wasn't just a soldier, he was one of the most decorated in U.S. history. 2. Audie Murphy. Audie Murphy's life story reads like an action epic. Enlisting in the U.S. Army at just 17, he became the most decorated American combat soldier of World War II. His bravery was legendary, earning the Medal of Honor after single-handedly holding off a German attack while wounded, allowing his unit to retreat. After the war, Murphy transitioned to Hollywood, starring in over 40 films, including To Hell and Back, which was based on his own autobiography. Though he carried the weight of his wartime experiences for the rest of his life, he never let them diminish his determination. Murphy's quiet demeanor off-screen contrasted with the ferocity he displayed in battle, making him a true hero both in and out of uniform. And our #1 toughest actor was a martial artist whose influence still shapes action cinema today. 1. Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee wasn't just a movie star. He was a revolutionary force in martial arts and cinema. Born in San Francisco and raised in Hong Kong, Lee began training in Wing Chun under Ip Man, before developing his own hybrid philosophy, Jeet Kune Do. His speed, precision, and physical conditioning were unmatched, inspiring a new generation of fighters and redefining how action was portrayed on screen. Films like Enter the Dragon showcased not only his skill, but also his charisma and philosophy of self-mastery. Off-screen, he trained Hollywood stars like Chuck Norris and James Coburn, spreading his influence far beyond his own filmography. Though his life was tragically short, his impact remains immeasurable. a testament to strength, discipline, and innovation. From decorated war heroes to world-class martial artists, these 25 men proved their toughness in ways that went far beyond the movie screen. Some faced enemy fire, others tested their limits in the ring or on dangerous sets, and all left behind legacies built on grit, skill, and determination. Their stories remind us that true toughness isn't just about physical strength. It's about resilience, courage, and the will to keep going when the odds are against you. Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more forgotten Hollywood tales.